There's been a lot of conversation lately about Claressa Shields, and honestly, some people may have missed key parts of what's been happening. But instead of just repeating rumors or surface-level talk, let's slow things down and really look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about drama. It's about understanding behavior, patterns, and what might be going on beneath the surface. Because while gossip can be entertaining, real insight comes from paying attention to context, actions, and consequences. So let's start here. Recently, Claressa found herself at the center of attention after being linked to controversy involving her relationship with Papoose and claims made by Maserati Bud. According to what's been circulating online, there were suggestions that Claressa may have been involved with someone else while still connected to Papoose. Whether every detail is true or not, the situation created a wave of public discussion. Social media lit up, and people began forming their own opinions. What stood out wasn't just the situation itself, but how Claressa responded to it. It appeared that she took matters into her own hands, trying to manage the narrative and control how people saw her. That's not unusual. Many public figures try to shape their image when things get messy. But sometimes when you respond too quickly or too often, it can have the opposite effect. Instead of calming things down, it keeps the spotlight on you. At the same time, more voices started to come forward. One of the most talked about was her cousin Shalita, who gave interviews and shared personal stories about their family dynamic. These interviews gained attention because they didn't just repeat gossip. They added background, details, and a different perspective. When family members speak publicly, it hits differently. It's no longer just outsiders guessing. It becomes something more personal. And in this case, the picture being painted wasn't entirely flattering. There were claims about struggles within her family. For example, stories suggested that her brother might be going through financial hardship, despite earlier promises that he would be supported. Now, to be fair, adults are responsible for their own lives. But when someone publicly says they will take care of family, people tend to remember that. If those promises aren't fulfilled, it can raise questions about consistency and responsibility. Then there were mentions of her grandmother, described as living in conditions that didn't match the level of success Claressa has achieved. The contrast stood out to people. On one side, you have fame, money, and recognition. On the other, a family member who may not be experiencing the same level of care. Whether fully accurate or not, this kind of narrative can affect how the public views someone. Because success doesn't just change your life, it changes how people expect you to act. The higher you rise, the more people look at how you treat those closest to you. And that's where things begin to feel more complicated. Moving away from family and into friendships, there's another layer to this story. Claressa has often been seen with a close friend, someone who was regularly around her, involved in her daily life, and even part of her public image. But recently, people noticed a shift. They stopped interacting online. Now, that might sound small, but in today's world, social media behavior can say a lot. When two people who used to constantly support each other suddenly go quiet, people notice, especially when both individuals are very active online. Then came the posts. Not direct statements, but indirect messages, quotes, thoughts, and comments that seem to hint at deeper issues. Things about jealousy, trust, and being careful who you allow into your space. These kinds of messages are often called subliminals. They don't name anyone directly, but the timing and tone make people connect the dots. Around the same time, that friend, known online as Nia the Goat, shared content that appeared to reflect a strong, supportive relationship with her partner. She posted about feeling appreciated, valued, and cared for. It was a very different kind of energy compared to the conversations surrounding Claressa's relationship. And that contrast didn't go unnoticed. On one side, there was a relationship being questioned and debated. On the other, a relationship being celebrated and shown with confidence. When two people in the same circle present such different experiences, it can naturally create tension, or at least the perception of tension. It's important to understand something here. Human behavior often includes comparison, even when we don't realize it. When someone sees another person living a life they desire, it can bring up mixed emotions. Sometimes it inspires growth. Other times it creates discomfort. Psychologically, there's a concept called social mirroring. It happens when a person starts to adopt traits, behaviors, or styles from someone they admire or want to be like. It's not always negative. It can be part of learning and evolving. But when it becomes too focused on external validation, it can lead to instability. Because instead of building a strong identity from within, the person begins shaping themselves based on what they see working for others. And when that happens, being around someone who is naturally confident and secure can feel challenging. Not because that person is doing anything wrong, but because they represent something real, something that isn't being forced or performed. That's where another key idea comes in: the difference between presentation and reality. In today's world, it's easy to create an image. Social media allows people to highlight the best parts of their lives while hiding the struggles. But eventually, gaps between what is shown and what is real can start to appear. And when those gaps become visible, people begin asking questions. That seems to be part of what's happening here. Claressa has spoken publicly about her relationship, even saying that her partner supports her financially and takes care of major expenses. She shared this during an interview on The Breakfast Club, presenting an image of stability and support. But at the same time, critics questioned whether that image matched reality. Some felt that the statements were more about maintaining a certain perception than reflecting actual circumstances. Whether that's true or not, it added fuel to the ongoing discussion. Meanwhile, Nia's post showed a relationship where appreciation and effort seemed mutual and visible. She openly celebrated her partner, expressing gratitude and admiration. Came across as natural, not something that needed to be proven. That difference in tone is what caught people's attention. Because when one person appears to be convincing others of something, and another simply shows it without explanation, the contrast becomes very clear. Now, none of this proves anything definitively, but it does highlight patterns. And patterns are often more revealing than isolated events. Looking at Claressa's broader history, there have been multiple situations involving conflict with people close to her: family members, friends, and others. Each situation on its own might not mean much, but when similar issues keep appearing, people start to look for a deeper explanation. Sometimes those patterns point to challenges with trust, communication, or expectations. Other times they reflect the pressure of living in the public eye, because being famous comes with a unique kind of stress. Every action is watched, every mistake is amplified, and every relationship becomes part of a larger narrative. That kind of environment can make it difficult to maintain stability. It can also blur the line between what is genuine and what is performative. At the end of the day, what we're seeing here isn't just a series of random events. It's a combination of personal choices, public reactions, and the influence of social media. It's a reminder that image and reality are not always the same. It also shows how quickly situations can escalate when private matters become public discussions. For Claressa, the biggest challenge moving forward may not be any single controversy. It may be the overall perception that's forming based on repeated situations. Because once people start seeing a pattern, it becomes harder to change their minds. That doesn't mean change is impossible, but it does mean it requires consistency, self-awareness, and a shift in behavior. And for the audience watching all of this unfold, there's a lesson too. It's easy to get caught up in drama and take sides, but it's more valuable to step back and understand what's really happening. To recognize patterns, question narratives, and avoid jumping to conclusions without full context. Because every story has multiple layers. And sometimes the most important part isn't what's being said, but what's being shown over time. In the end, whether this situation continues to grow or eventually fades away will depend on what happens next. Not just online, but in real life. Because while social media can shape perception, real actions are what define the truth. And those always speak louder than anything else.